So you've probably seen the headlines about Meta's massive new AI acquisition, this company called Manus. And yeah, the story that blew up was all about geopolitics and national security. But the real story here, the one we need to talk about, isn't about countries. It's about you.
First off, let's just take a second to look at this number. $2 billion. I mean, wow. That's what Meta shelled out. At a number that big, it screams one thing. This is way more than just another tech buy. This is a massive strategic move, one that's meant to completely reshape their entire world.
And right away, this was the question everywhere. The AI company had Chinese origins, right? So the story immediately became, oh no, is this another TikTok? You know the drill. Is China going to get our data? It's a scary story for sure, and it's the one that grabbed all the headlines. But here's the thing. That whole story, it might just be a total distraction. The real risk here is something, well, completely different. It's way more personal and honestly, maybe even more powerful than all that geopolitical drama. And to get it, we really need to break down what Meta actually bought. Okay, so that brings us to this really key idea, agentic AI. And let me be clear, this is not just another chatbot. It's not like the image generators you've been playing with. No, this is a totally different beast, a fundamentally different kind of AI. And honestly, it's the key to understanding this entire thing. So what the heck is it? Well, to put it simply, agentic AI is an AI that, well, it does stuff for you. Think about it like this. A chatbot just talks back to you. It responds. But an AI agent, you give it a goal, and it goes off on its own to make it happen. It's the difference between asking an AI for a recipe and having that AI go and order all the groceries you need to make it. See the difference? One talks, one acts. And what it can do is, well, it's pretty mind-blowing. We're talking about an AI that can do deep research for you, write whole articles, and juggle tasks with multiple steps. It can even use other apps and tools all on its own. And the craziest part? It does all this with you barely having to tell it what to do. This thing is built for action, plain and simple. And this quote from our source material just nails it. It says, Meta didn't buy a model. Meta bought an execution layer. That really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? They didn't just buy a smarter brain. They bought a set of hands, a way for their AI to actually do things out in the world, across all their apps. All right, so now that we know what this thing is, let's go back to that whole geopolitical story, because now we can start to see why the whole China threat thing was, well, kind of pointing everyone in the wrong direction. So if the story we all heard wasn't the real deal, what are the governments, in both the US and China really worried about? Because believe me, they are worried, just not about what the headlines were telling you.
This just lays it out perfectly. Look at this. US regulators, they're basically fine with the company structure. They're convinced it's separate enough from China. What they're actually worried about is Meta getting even bigger, even more dominant in AI. And China? Their concern is the complete opposite. They're worried about a brain drain, about losing their best and brightest AI minds and their tech to an American company. They're literally worried about opposite things. So get this, the big takeaway here is that what the public was afraid of, China gaining power, is the exact opposite of what the regulators were dealing with. The reality is, China was afraid of losing power in this deal. The whole public conversation was just totally disconnected from what was really going on.
Okay, so this is where we get to the real heart of it. If it's not about China, what is it about? Well, it's about what happens when you take Meta's just gigantic empire of data and you plug in this new AI that can actually do things. It's about something we can call consolidated behavioral power. I mean, let's just take a quick inventory of what Meta already knows about us. They have the biggest social map on the planet, connecting basically everyone. They've got decades of data on our behavior, what we like, who we message, where we've been, our politics, what ads we click on, everything. It's without a doubt the biggest machine for profiling people ever created. So you take all of that massive, unbelievably detailed universe of human data, and now you add what Meta just paid $2 billion for, a super powerful autonomous AI that can actually go and do things inside that world of data. So what happens when you put those two things together? Well, this is where it gets scary. This is where the real risks pop up. You get a system that isn't just designed to watch what we do anymore. It's designed to shape what we do.
And these risks are no joke. We're talking about things like hyper-personalized behavioral nudging. That means the AI isn't just showing you an ad, it's actively steering your entire online experience. We're talking about political influence on a scale we've never seen before, and profiles that don't just guess what you're going to do, but actually start telling you what you should do next. It's a lot. And let's really let this sink in. Agents don't just observe behavior, they optimize it. That right there is the huge shift. The game isn't just about understanding you better to sell you stuff anymore. The new goal is to automatically, actively guide your behavior to whatever outcome they want. Okay, so that's a pretty big, kind of scary development, but it doesn't mean we're powerless. So let's get to the final part of all this. What does this actually mean for you and me? And what can we actually do to get ready for what's coming? Look, Meta is going to sell these things as amazing tools. Productivity boosters, marketing assistants, all that. And hey, they probably will be incredibly useful. I'm not denying that, but there's a trade-off, and it's a big one. The more you let these AI agents help you, the more they learn about you. And the more they learn, the better they get at shaping what you do and think. So what can you actually do about it? Well, a few things. First, you can start right now by locking down your data. Go into your settings, turn off cross-app tracking, limit ad personalization. Second, when these new tools actually show up, be super careful about the permissions you give them. If an AI wants to read all your messages or post for you, maybe think twice about that. And finally, support the people calling for better AI rules. We need more transparency, we need limits on this kind of profiling, and we need to give clear, informed consent. Because at the end of the day, these are the things that matter. Way more than where the AI was originally built. Getting hung up on its origins is just missing the forest for the trees. The real conversation we need to have is about how we control these incredibly powerful systems, how our data gets used, and how much of our own freedom we get to keep. That's what really counts. Which really brings us to the final bottom line question here. The question isn't, is China going to get our data? The real question, the one we all have to answer for ourselves, is this. How much more power, how much more influence are we willing to hand over to Meta in our own digital lives?